guys, I'm probably the last person on the planet that would say that the people of this country don't deserve some sort of break from the government. Tax break, more importantly, a government that's about half the size that it is now, a government that pulls our men and women from sandlots around the world and brings them back home. You know, if anybody needs a break, it's the citizens of this country. But the fact that this tax break that's coming down the line is being sold as for the American people is absolutely an affront to me. You know, here's a CNBC article that says that the Obama GOP tax plan is going to do what critics said the Federal Reserve bond purchasing program wouldn't do, which is spur growth, spur hiring, and fuel this recovery. And I ask myself, how on earth can keeping things exactly the way they are and have been for the last decade in an ever decreasing middle class base and an ever decreasing salary base going to suddenly spur this economy? And last recollection on this is we've spent since 2008, you know, upwards of $30 trillion by some estimates, $700 billion in TARP, $1 trillion in stimulus, 21,000 transactions by the Federal Reserve, also known as the Bank of the World, to corporations in this country and around the world. None of this has brought our unemployment rate down. None of this has created jobs substantially in this country. And in fact, every misery index you want to use, 43 million people on food stamps, more people being foreclosed on, more people than ever filing bankruptcy, more people that are in the long-term unemployed than are in the short-term unemployed, and that number's in the millions. And millions of them are about to lose all hope and benefit. All this stuff doesn't work, but suddenly if we pass this tax cut for the middle class, it's going to be the silver bullet that fixes everything. It's a canard. It's nothing more than another grab by the uber rich on Wall Street. $144 billion is what they had in compensation and bonuses. They're going to get to keep millions and millions of dollars and shove it into their pocket. Are they going to reinvest that into this economy? Well, look what they've done with their money in the past. You know, they sink economies and then they throw their failure onto the backs of the American people. So the idea that suddenly a tax cut's coming is a joke. There is no cut coming. We're going to keep things the way they are. I don't think most middle-class Americans, myself included, am worried about a big tax increase because the middle class is shrinking, the poverty level is going up, and even the people who are still in the middle class are experiencing a reduction in their salaries. You know, it was just the summer of this year when we had Greenspan, the engineer of this collapse, come out and say, unless we come to grips with long-term debt, we're going to have major, major problems. Yet Larry Summers is out in the last 24 hours, last 48 hours saying, if we don't pass this tax cut right away, we're going to go into a double dip. See, the whole idea is scare the masses and then get them malleable so you can move them in the way you want to, or at least you give yourself cover to pass bills that hurt them. You know, it's not lost on me that when the incoming chairman of the House Banking Committee, Spencer Baucus, Republican from Alabama, was quoted as saying, in Washington, the view is that banks are to be regulated. My view, this is Baucus's view, is that Washington and regulators are there to serve the banks. Now, it's not a mystery why he's received over $1 million from the commercial banking sector in his illustrious 18-year career, or $800,000 from the real estate sector, $700,000 from security and investment firms, and $415,000 from credit companies. The reason he's receiving this money is the exact same reason why he said his view is that Washington regulators are there to serve the banks. Now, it was a little bit of honesty that he tried to retract later, but in reality, that's exactly what's happening in this country. We see the Federal Reserve opening the doors for free money to all these banks and corporations around the world, and we see the middle class ever decreasing. You see incomes falling and the misery index through the roof. The idea that anything that's being done in Washington is being done on behalf of the American people is absolutely a smoke and mirrors distraction. The reality is this wave election has brought in a wave of people that are calling themselves Tea Party candidates, and maybe some of them even are. But have you even heard their name mentioned since the midterm's over? All you've heard about is the same old players, the same long-term players on the blue team and the red team playing the exact same game. Serve the banking industry. They come first, and your piece of the pie, well, forget about it. You're never going to get it. Stories are attached. That's all I got.